Hey guys, what's up? Chemistry here. This is part 7 of my FL Studio tutorial series. In this tutorial I'll be going through builds and transitions for the Handsup hardstyle genre. I will be using Handsup for this tutorial because it works really good with dance, music, and hardstyle. Maybe some hardcore too, but that's much faster, so it's a little different. So, yeah, I'll just be going through that, and in the next tutorial I'll be going through trance builds and transitions because they are much different. So what I have here is this melody that was made by Empire One in his remix of Reviens-moi by Starbreeze. I can put the link in the description if you guys want. And very challenging melody to remake, honestly. This is just the climax, and I just listened to it and remade it by ear. If you want the FLP of that, I can give it to you guys. Here is just the harmony notes, and up here is just the melody. They always hit at the exact same time. So yeah, I'll just get you guys to listen to that, show you how to build this into the climax, and some transitions before that. So if you guys ever actually listen to this song, you'll probably notice that it sounds much better in the song. And that's probably because there's lots of filters going on and stuff to turn it back down, drop it and bring it back up. Those little transitions. And that's what I'm going to be getting into today. So if you guys like making dance or hands-up music, please use these techniques. Honestly, they're great. It has a lot of impact to the overall sound of the song. So what I'm going to do is, I have this bass line here, right here. This is the bass line of the song. I am referring off this remix just to show you how to make the builds, because I could use my own tune, but I don't really want to. Get you guys something that's actually professional. So I'm going to have this bass line here, just going to be hitting the bass line, and we'll pretend that that is just the chorus or the part where the person sings or the break, whatever you guys want to imagine it. And we're going to bring that to the transition of build to climax. So here we have the kick right down here in red. These little blocks here are the kicks. Here's the close hi-hats, open hi-hats right here, which I'm going to make a transition to, and the claps. I have 2 clap patterns. So yeah, I'll get you guys to listen to that along, and then I'll show you how to make a quick transition to the open hi-hat. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but it was probably kind of boring after a while. You're just kind of listening to the same thing, but just more beat instruments coming in, no new melodies, just nothing. Obviously in the chorus you'll have more than just a bass line kicking, but that's just something that I chose to just show you guys with. What we're going to do is we're going to start off right here for every 8 bars, so 1 to 8, for every 8 bars section like this. And then a new instrument comes in, like the open hi-hat, there's always going to be a transition. So pretty much almost every 8 bars there's going to be a transition from the last 8 bar to the next here, which would be 9th. So from bar 8 to bar 9 there's going to be a transition, just like there's going to be one from bar 16 to bar 17. And they're just going to be really short 1 measure transitions, and possibly 2 measures, it does depend. So yeah, so what we're going to do is, right here, see these drum instruments here, these drum patterns? Well, we're going to take those out, erase them so it just drops. And all you hear is the bass line. You actually can turn down the bass line or take it out, which we might do. I'm just going to leave it there for now. Also, what we'll do is we'll take the clap pattern, and these are the claps here. Basically the same thing of what you just saw, but just in the upper playlist. And we're going to shorten that, so it's just one clap, and then move it over here to the side, so it's just... And next thing you have to do is get some sound effects coming. So you gotta get the sweeps, the reverse crashes, the bass drums, anything you can find. So all this is from VC3, I think. A couple from VC2. So reverse crash. You probably can't hear that. It's very quiet. You don't need to have the sound effects just blow up in everyone's faces. It's just for added effect. It doesn't have to be that loud. I know a lot of people just blast these sound effects, and I think it kind of ruins their song. Also be careful with the crashes. They do mix in with the hi-hats very easily. They're all very high frequency sound effects here, so careful how you mix them into the song. I have them play pretty low here. I could turn it up a little bit, I realize. But this is just for the tutorial. So what I have here are two sweeps that sweep upward, so adds tension, and then two sweeps that sweep down. So just a sweep down here, and then a crash. So I got reverse crash, crash, and the two sweeps that do the same. That was my washing machine. Don't know if you heard that. But so I'm just going to zoom in really quick here just to align it correctly to the starter bar 9. So I'm going to click the magnet here, hit none. So I have precision, precision. Excuse my English, I'm a little French. Shit. Okay. So it should look something like this. See that it's sweeping up and then sweeping down. Let's listen to what it sounds like now. So what we did here is just we kind of stopped everything, had some sound effects, and then we bring it all back, and it sounds much bigger, sounds like stuff is actually going on. And at this point, it would be wise on this bar, or these bars, to add a new instrument, not just the bass line, but like something else, like a piano or pluck or whatever, vocals. I'm just not going to for this tutorial. It would be wise to try that. So what I just did here is I copy paste what was right here, just copy pasted that. Because there's going to be another transition right here. We're going to do the same thing, we're just going to take out all the drums. We might take out a few here early, just to kind of give the impression that the crowd kind of knows something's about to change here. So we have all the sweeps again, and what we're going to do is we're going to outline the bass line. I have it mixed to the mixer here, so just bass 1. And see this fader, this is just the volume. What you can do is you can right click on that, and then left click on create automation clip. So since I right click on the fader, it's going to give me the option to create an automation clip on that fader. It gives me the volume envelope, so if I turn that up, it's going to be at max on the fader level or the slider, and then if I move it all the way to the bottom, you're just not going to hear it anymore because the fader here is, see how low it is. So I'm just going to leave it at its normal volume, and then it's just going to drop at the end, because what you want to do to transition from the chorus verse area to the build or the climax, tension break, whatever, is to kind of turn things down so people kind of know that something's about to just happen. So it's nice and quiet, you hear the sound effects come in, and then boom, you have this climax thing, this melody come in nice and loud. So what we're going to do is, instead of just leaving it playing like that, we'll do the exact same thing we did with the bass line, just something a little different. Instead of using the fader, we're going to mix in filters. So we're going to link the lead to the mixer just like we did with the bass line. So link that to this track, and then on this effects slot over here, you want to click on any arrow and then go down to free filter. So free filter, and open up the filter here. So you have type, that just changes the type of pass, low, band, high, notch, low shelf, anything like that. We're just going to leave it on low pass. Here we have Q, that's just resonance. Just turn that down to where it's above 0, so it's just like one little line. We're not going to change the gain, and the frequency knob is like the volume knob. It's like if it's at 10 hertz here, you won't hear it, because the only sound that's coming out is anything below 10 hertz, and no one can really hear that. And then 16,000 hertz is like max volume. You hear everything that is 16,000 hertz and below, and that's pretty much everything. So just right click on this knob and then left click on create automation clip, and see how I outlined the playlist area and then the volume envelope or the frequency envelope appeared here. Well, that's because I outlined that area. If I wouldn't have done that, it would have stretched out all the way to the beginning of the song, which is not good, I think anyway. So I'm going to leave it nice and close to the melody here so you know what's going on. So I'm going to boost that all the way to the top so that you can hear it perfectly when it comes in. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop it. So I created two little dots right here. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can really see that. I got two little dots. And what we're going to do is we're going to click right here. See that? So right click there, so we have three dots. These are two measures, by the way, 2 bars. So we have it come down all the way to this low point, maybe not 0, but just a low point, and then it's going to peak back up. So we're just dropping it and bring it back up. So we're just going to use these little circles here to bend the automation a little bit. So we're just going to drop that like that and just bring it up, something like that. So I'm going to go back to my original zoom. So it'll look kind of like that, just drop and come back. What we want to do is just keep the build going. So instead of bringing it back up and starting the climax, we're going to leave that at a low level. So we're just going to leave it there and bring it all the way back up until it hits that not before last measure here. So measure 31 to 33 is going to be the next transition area. So the beginning of the next, which is right here, I have another dot there that's already there. I'm going to do the exact same thing. We're going to drop it in the middle of the last measure, and then then just kind of bend it to whatever you like. It should look something like that. So we'll just so in this area is really like the build where probably the vocals are coming back in. If you're listening to hardstyle, then you have these little claps come in. We're gonna have a snare. We're gonna have a little snare roll, that's what I like to call them. So I'm just gonna get this snare sound. What I want to do is just have it 1/16 note here. Hits each 4 step like that. Every 4 steps for 2 measures, and then divide the time and the space in between each. So if we're hitting for 2 measures, so with every 4 step, then you just hit for 1 measure every 2 steps. So we're just kind of dividing it. And then to finish it off, we'll just take the paintbrush and just slide it all like that. So every step is being hit. So have this short little snares. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click on these ostrich faces down here. See that? and we're going to, if you click here, this is just the velocity, so it's a lot like the volume. We're going to bring it nice and high, and then we're going to drop it, so we're going to have to drop it around here. So I just got to modify that a little bit. So it looks kind of like a roller coaster. You bring it all the way up and then we drop it. I like to drop it just because I think if you don't, it just sounds really, really loud and then it disappears. It looks, and it just kind of sounds bad. That's a preference of mine. You don't have to do that. So that's what it looks like. I don't know if that'll be loud enough or quiet enough, but that should do the job. So yeah, got these ostrich faces on the right spot, so we'll put that down at the last 4 bars here. Anyway, I'll stop talking, I'll show you what it sounds like now. So I realized that wasn't loud enough. The snares do have to be louder. So yeah, something like that. Also, for the last part, you might have realized it sounded kind of empty. That I know. I don't know what song you're actually making right now, so it's hard to tell you what to do with a brief general tutorial at the same time. So I'm trying to be specific but general, so I'm not too specific, I'm not too general either. What I would fit here is vocals, sweeps, maybe get a nice sine effect, put it really, really high up, and then just filter that up just like we did with the melody. I don't know, yeah, sweeps are good. I'd stick with the sweeps. Those are probably the most common used things, snares and sweeps. So maybe we could even have like the reverse crash and the crash come in right here. And then have like a bass drum effect right here. And then here come back up. And the snares are coming, the vocals are coming in. Everything is starting to get more tense. And then, finally, it's time for the climax. Just hit the bass drums. Get the bass line back in here. I'll have to turn that back up, obviously, because it turned down earlier. Bass drums, maybe starting with the claps already. So bass drums and claps. Remember that you're still going to need to use these filters here. Just because you're at the climax doesn't mean there's no transitions. You have to do the exact same transition we did at the beginning of the tutorial. So yeah, you're gonna have to drop it here, turn things down, and turn it back up. So drop it again. Always drop it at the end of every 8 bars. Just drop the melody and bring it back up like this. And this is more of a hands up technique. You know, that kind of dance music that you'll hear often. So mess around with that. Don't do it if you have hardstyle. I don't really hear that very often, but if you just so happen, techno and Handsup uses this a lot. So then take out the bass drums, bring in the sweeps and the claps here, reverse crashes, all that stuff, bring it back. And then if you're listening to Handsup, that would be the next part. The next part would be the part where you got the jump kicks coming. I don't know, you guys are familiar? Any German fans of mine? I don't know. You guys are big on Handsup, I think. So anyway, that is a quick build tutorial for you guys. Very generic. I'll come around and make a trance tutorial here soon for you trance producers out there. I'll probably leave an annotation or a link to that video whenever it's up. So good luck, guys, and hope you learned some. See you next time.